TV. We are also streaming live on Go TV channel 4, Go TV channel 184, and on all Clock TV social media handles. The handle is at Clock TV GH. At Clock TV GH. The details will be up on the screen shortly. And we are also live streaming on all WASC platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook. So do well to connect with us.
So for the social media platforms, you just check the West African Alternative Care Summit, WAX on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Please do well to follow.
All right, the hashtags are WASC 2026. With that, because we want everything together, hashtag WAX 2026. Other needed addition or information will be communicated to us as we progress.
All right, as we begin, we want to apologize for starting late, and we will ensure that we keep to time as we run. Before we open up officially with our welcome and prayers, I'd just like everyone to take out their phone. If you have a phone, please take it out of your bag, of your pocket. We want you all to take out your phones. Please take out your phones. Everyone, just hold your phones up. If you have a mobile phone, a smartphone, just take it up. Everyone, just hold it out. I want you to sit with the people on your table. Give a smile and take a group selfie and post on your social media or save for yourself. So I'm giving you the next 1 minute to do that.
No, okay.
We're working on it. So let's first take the picture. Everybody 1 minute. Take a group selfie on your table. Next time you want us to take a selfie.
Take a picture of your table. About social media connection or being online, we're going to see to it that everyone gets connected.
Take out their phones and take a selfie with their team.
If it's not a smartphone, don't be shy. Still bring it out regardless. All right, let's take a picture.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please give yourselves a round of applause for just showing up and for wanting to see children end up in safe and loving families. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause. All right, thank you so much.
Sorry, before we call up the first person, so it's good I give a disclaimer. I'm a Yoruba boy from Nigeria, and she's a beautiful princess, also from Nigeria. She's from the north, I'm from the west. Our language are different as it is, and coming into this beautiful state, let me quickly apologize for wrong pronunciation of names. It's not intentional. Along the line, there are some names that we might not get the pronunciation correctly. So please, we are apologizing ahead. So what I'll do is that any name I know I can't pronounce, I'll just push it to her because she lived 5 years here. But the ones that are going to be very hard, we'll just do our best to get it right. Are we forgiven? Are we forgiven? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. To welcome us officially, and then after that we open up in prayers, but we need someone to welcome us officially to Ghana, Accra, Ghana. As you know, a lot has been going on behind the scenes to make this happen.
That's right.
We have a lot of people who have been putting in some work. So please help me welcome Susanna Afutu, the conference coordinator for Accra, Ghana, to welcome us. Please a round of applause for Susanna Afutu as she comes up stage. Please keep clapping till she comes. Celebrate Susanna Afutu. Please let's welcome Susanna Afutu as she comes up stage. Thank you so much.
Akwaba. When we say Akwaba in Ghana, it is welcome in the Akan language. And when you hear Akwaba, if the person is an elderly woman, you say Yena. If the person is an elderly man, you say Yeja. And if the person is a colleague, you say Yenya. So can we practice that with the person sitting next to you? If the person is an elderly woman, you say Yena. If the person is an elderly man, you say yeja. And if the person is a co-equal or a colleague, you say yenya. So say akwaba to your friend.
Nobody helping me with that. Yes, like sharp.
All right. You are welcome to Ghana.
I need a reverend.
I hope that you have enjoyed your stay so far.
Somebody from Ghana, can I get
And on behalf of the Family-Based Care Alliance and the planning team,
Yes, I'm calling him next.
on behalf of the Family-Based Care Alliance and the planning team of the West African Alternative Care Summit, we say a big welcome to all of you. And I also like to say, Aiko, congratulations to the members of the planning committee for pulling this together. It hasn't been easy, but God has seen us through. And as you will soon realize on your program, we have a wonderful list of topics that we'll be looking at today. And we are trusting God to help us have a very successful program. We have some dignitaries in our midst that will be introduced in the course of time. So thank you so much and enjoy your stay here.
Thank you. Round of applause one more time for her. And two. There are a couple of acknowledgements we're going to be doing and recognitions, and after that we will open the event properly. All right. So 1 minute, please. All right. So a quick shout out to our partners. Okay.
All right, we're going to open up with a quick word of prayer, and we go ahead straight to the word of the day. We have Reverend Eric Nate, the church lead for FABCA, opening us up in prayer. Please, let's give him a round of applause as he opens up in prayer.
Thank you so much. Indeed, this is amazing, and this is the work of the Lord. Amen. Amen. Please, shall we, please humbly, let's give honor to our God by being up whilst we do the opening prayer. Thank you. We thank you, our Lord and our God, for bringing us together at a time like this. So long as you have done this, then you have a purpose. And the purpose is to equip us, even this time, even as we share your heart together, even as we move this ministry of caring for the vulnerable children even forward. It is our prayer, even at this time, that you will take absolute control over everything that we do here today. We commit the speakers, we commit all the guests here from all these nations. It's our prayer that, Father, you will begin with us and that you will bless us before we leave this place tomorrow. We thank you that you have always done this as we have called you. We have agreed here today, and so we know it's agreed in heaven, because you are the one that we have asked from. We thank you. We bless you. We honor you. And we give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You are blessed.
Please take your seats. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. We have very amazing people seated here, and we'll be acknowledging we're building protocol. However, we have the support of so many amazing organizations that have supported to make this happen. As I acknowledge them, please give them a big round of applause. Please, let's give a big round of applause to Back Ministries. Let's give a big round of applause to Back Ministries. Please, let's give a big round of applause to Both Ends Believing. Both Ends Believing, a big round of applause for Both Ends Believing. Let's give a big round of applause to Trauma Free World. A big round of applause to Trauma Free World. Very importantly, putting all of our networks and connecting us together is Christian Alliance for Orphans. Let's give a big round of applause to K4. And let's give a big round of applause to CAYM for being our sponsors this year. Also, very important people who have sacrificed to have their members come from different countries, to have their members come from different regions here, even in Ghana. Let's give a round of applause first to the Association of Orphanages and Home Operators in Nigeria, ASOHON. Let's give them a big round of applause. And our host network, let's give a big round of applause to the Family-Based Care Alliance, FABCA. Let's give a big round of applause to FABCA. We will be calling our partners shortly to also acknowledge them. But before we go down, we know that for everything that we do, we can never achieve anything as a people, as a country, without the support of our government. So I want you all to give a very big round of applause to the government of Ghana. Let's give a big round of applause to the government of Ghana. And ably represented here is also the government of Nigeria. Let's give a big round of applause to the government of Nigeria. We'll be acknowledging you as we go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so at this point, we want to also recognize the lead facilitator, Susan. Thank you so much for all you've done. We recognize the church lead, Reverend Eric. He was the one that said the opening prayer. We also want to recognize representative from Research and Child Development, Dr. David Kumedo. I hope I got that right. Please, a round of applause for him. We also want to recognize the lead for non-profit engagement lead.
Please, let's give them a round of applause.
That's talking about Miracle. Then also Benedicta Akita. We want to, please, a round of applause for Benedicta. These are major people we just want to appreciate. Over to you, Yoni.
All right, thank you so much. We have people who attended WAX 2025 in Nigeria, but we also have people who are coming here for the first time. And I'm sure you're wondering, why this theme? Why are we here? Why have we even decided to do this over and over again? The theme for this year is from commitment to implementation, and the aim is scaling family-based care across West Africa. And to tell us why we are here, the objectives, what we hope to achieve, are two amazing people who thought about putting this together and have involved all of us. And it has grown from 2025 to 2026. Please, with a resounding round of applause, let's welcome first Mr. Ade Olowo. Please, let's give him a big round of applause, the co-convener for WAX 2026. Please, let's give him a big round of applause. Beside him is an amazing woman, not a stranger to anything that has to do with children across West Africa and globally. Please, let's welcome Mrs. Sandra Chikan. A big round of applause for Mrs. Sandra Chikan as they tell us why we are here. Please, a round of applause as she comes up stage.
Good morning, everyone. I hope we rested. I know some people came very late. I know that some people traveled miles to be here, but we're here. So I'd like to first and foremost appreciate the Honorable Nana Oye Bampo Ado the Deputy Chief of Staff in Ghana. Please celebrate our government here. I'd like to also, you're welcome, ma. Thank you. I'd like to also welcome Dr. Samuel Epifa, the Director of Alternative Care Unit, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development in Nigeria. Please celebrate with me, our Director. You're welcome, sir. It's good to have you. I'd like to also welcome Reverend Dr. Gabriel Oyediji, who is the President of the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in Nigeria. You're welcome, sir. Please celebrate our President. I'd like to also welcome High Chief Akpolono. He is also a member of the Executive Council of the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in Nigeria. Please acknowledge his name. I'd like to also welcome the Honorable, please forgive me, but I'm seeing N2, the Afote Botwa II, who is also an Honorable Chief in Ghana. You're welcome, sir. It's good to have you here, sir. I'd like to also welcome Mr. Frank Garrett, who is the Vice President of the Both Ends Believing USA. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to also welcome the Regional Coordinator of Both Ends Believing in the person of Mr. Kenneth Ayi Bazibwe. I got it, sir. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to also welcome Mrs. Diane Hertz. Give it to me, Diane. Thank you. From Trauma Free World. You're welcome, ma'am. And we also have Trish from Trauma Free World. You're welcome. I'd like to welcome Reverend Rafat Nyarenda. He's the KFO spiritual advisor all the way from Zimbabwe. Well, it's good to have you here, sir. I'd like to also welcome Mr. Sebilu Bodija from Ethiopia. He's also the KFO African coordinator. You're welcome, sir. Mr. Stedman Noble, we are so excited to have you. He is the one of the directors of Care for Children in the UK. Please celebrate Mr. Stedman here. I'd also like to recognize every single leadership of Asahon. I'd like to start with our Chief Mobilization Officer in the person of Pastor Ngozi Ibokwe. Please, let's celebrate her. Thank you, Ma. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We'd like to also welcome our National Welfare Officer and our North Central Coordinator for the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in the person of Mrs. Grace Solomon. You're welcome, Ma. Please celebrate her with me. And you're welcome, Ma. I'd like to also welcome our Lagos State Deputy Coordinator of the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in the person of Reverend Mrs. Ebun Idowu. Please celebrate her. You're welcome, ma'am. I'd like to also welcome Miss Louise from James Martin Foundation in the UK. You're welcome, ma'am. Good to have you. I'd also like to welcome all the Both Ends Believing country managers. A couple of countries are represented. At the time that Kenneth comes, I'm sure he will duly recognize them because I don't have all their names. Forgive me for that, but you're welcome. I'd like to also welcome all the heads of all the organizations that are represented in Ghana and in Nigeria. You are all welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I'd like to welcome Ms. Kawa, who is also representing Save the Children. It's good to have you, ma'am. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. I'd also like to welcome the Reverend Tete, who is also here. Is Reverend here? Reverend Tete, I don't know if he's here, but you're welcome, sir. All the pastors, all the regional directors, and every single one that has put his hand to the plow, you are welcome. And going forward, if I have not mentioned your name, please know that it's not intentional. But I also want to welcome from Transform Alliance Africa, I would like to welcome, and Hope and Homes, I'd like to welcome and appreciate Mr. Stephen Usembe. Is he here? I haven't seen him. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, sir. All the way from Kenya. And I'd like to welcome Mrs. Vivi D, also from Hope and Homes in Rwanda. You're welcome, sir. Ma'am, you're welcome. I'd also like to welcome and acknowledge Mr. Lento, all the way from Madagascar. It's good to have you, sir. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. And then we have this amazing lady, Doreen Alaro from Maestral International, one of the directors. Is Doreen here? If she's here, I haven't seen you, Doreen. Hi. You're welcome, ma'am. All the way from Uganda, sorry. You're welcome. Thank you. At this point, I hope that I've acknowledged everyone. And then finally, Lifeline. Thank you, Usha. And every single member of the organizing team, Nigeria, Ghana, every single one of you, I acknowledge and I thank you for being here. So the question is, why are we here? But before we do that, I'd like to ask Ade to introduce himself for the benefit of those who do not know him. And then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll go right into it and get out of your faces.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I've been having fun in Ghana. So my name is Ade Olowo. I work for KFOR. I'm the African Regional Coach for the Christian Alliance of Orphans in Texas. So it's been fun coming in from Texas to be here in Ghana. I've had so much fun, but I haven't eaten Ghanaian food yet. So hopefully I will be excited to eat one very soon before I go. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Ade is in America and I'm from Nigeria. So I'd like to acknowledge a very special group. These are ESCO members of the Association of Orphanages in different states. So if you're a network member, I'm seeing the state coordinator of Plateau in the person of Mrs. Kempia Nyaba. You're welcome, ma'am. I'm seeing Mr. Joshua Dixon from Plateau State, an ESCO member. You're welcome, sir. Mrs. Patience Oyakire, you're welcome. That's the state treasurer. Mr. Jacob Agaba, he's also the state secretary. You're welcome, sir. Chidima Ugoji from Niger State. I know we have Ogun State, Lagos. I mean, all the states are represented. Olori, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for waving and letting me know that you're here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Why are we here? My name is Sandra Chikan, and I'm privileged and honored to also be co-convener of the West African Alternative Care Summit. And I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors, Back-to-Back Ministries. The country director is here, Nigeria. Mr. Azubi K. Kalu is here. And then we have the regional director of Trauma Free World in our midst. I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Ene Oklo. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're such a blessing. Thank you for being here. So I would like to just share a few words and just kick us off as we begin this summit. And the question is, why are we here? The first thing I'd like to say is we are here, and if you're sitting in this room, you're here because you know, and this is not just talk, but this is a reality for you, that children matter. Children all over the world, children in Africa, children in Asia, children in North America, everywhere in the world, children matter. But we are even more focused on vulnerable children. And that's why we're here. And because they matter to you and I, that's why we have taken this particular step to gather together and to begin to deliberate on issues that concern these children. WACS is an idea that was dropped in our hearts because of what we saw. And so for those of you who attended the first one in Nigeria, you know that we mentioned to you, Ade and I, that every time we would be working and engaging across the globe and talking to people across the globe on matters that deal or that affected our children, we would get amazing stories, testimonies, successes about work that had been done in other climes, whether it is in North Africa, South Africa, East Africa. But then we were not hearing about West Africa. Amazing people were doing amazing work in West Africa, but we could not pinpoint and we couldn't access data or evidence of the work, the great work that people were doing across West Africa. And so that was what propelled us and pushed us to even begin to conceive the idea and begin to take steps to engage with you and other well-meaning, active advocates of care reform across this region and beyond to see. Had achieved the first one, that was enough message to tell us you need to keep pushing. It was an opening an eye-opener to the fact that there were nations within West Africa that had care reform, that had already developed beautiful policies. But our question was, how is practice? What is happening to the policies and what is happening to the guidelines that governments have come up with? And based on that, we decided it was necessary to consolidate or to continue to build upon what we had started. And so this year, the reason why we convened WAX 2.0 is for 5 reasons. I will talk about 2, and I'll hand over to Ade to close us out with the remaining 3. The first thing we want to be able to talk about and to achieve at this second summit is to track regional progress and to foster cross-country learning. So within the West African context, we want to assess country-level implementation of the alternative care reforms across participating countries. And we also want to promote peer learning and the exchange of best practices across and among the West, the Eastern, the Southern, and the North African nations. For us to be able to build and be able to put together a network that will advocate and continue to strive to see care reform, we have to learn from people who have gone ahead of us. And there are regions that have done that. And we're privileged and honored to have many of those countries sitting in this room, and we want to learn from them today. So we will be hearing from various countries across Africa and across the globe. The second thing is we want to be able to see how the network and organizations and key stakeholders and governments would be able to put family strengthening at scale, promoting family strengthening at scale, but to also see how we can advocate for increased government budget allocation, which would be channeled toward prevention, reunification, and family support programs, ensuring that children can remain safely within families whenever possible. You and I will agree that family strengthening is costly, it takes time, but it's possible. That's what we want to talk about. And finally, for me, I'd like to say that I am grateful that you are here. So while we begin to deliberate and while we begin to look at what our countries have and the work that you're doing, I'd like you to stay focused on one thing. Our children matter. Orphan children, our children. Vulnerable children, our children. And we want to see that our children become well-functioning, active participants in nation building across the region of West Africa. So once again, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for believing in this cause. And thank you for walking this journey with us thus far. Thank you, and God bless you. I'll hand over to Ade.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sandra. Yeah, like Ms. Sandra said, we're excited that you are here, and this is a journey that we want to take with everybody. This is not an idea of Ms. Sandra's idea. This is our idea in West Africa. So for me, when I got a job with the Christian Alliance for Orphans in the U.S., like Ms. Sandra said, many things have been happening in Eastern Africa and in Southern Africa. I'm from Nigeria. And I wanted to say, okay, I said we have to do something in West Africa, and so we are very excited to be here. So the third thing we want to talk about is strengthening legal pathways to permanency. In West Africa, we have seen many children in orphanages. And so what does that mean for West Africa? How do we get them out of those orphanages to a family-based care? Are we going to talk about foster care, kinship placement? There's all these things that we need to talk about. So we're very excited to really talk about them and how do we move forward as a region. And also to establish the African Alternative Care Network for West Africa. To have a strong body, a strong board, a strong pathway, a structure, so that we can also work together in each of those countries. And also, before I move forward, I just want to acknowledge there are so many careful African network leaders that are here from from I think 9 countries, and they're all seated in this place. And so they have been working hard for the past 3 years with me to really see what's really happening in their country. So we're very excited that they are here. And so that is our goal, that from after this conference, we will establish a big structure where all of us can access things and access material. And like Ms. Sandra said, is to leverage an African-led evidence. Because we are Africans, we cannot copy what the US is doing and say we're going to do it in Africa. We have our own cultures, tradition. So how do we learn from each other? How do we learn from the East African, the Southern Africa? And that's why we have invited them here, and they have come to learn and share their experiences. So for me, I want us to be open-minded. I know we come from different backgrounds, church leaders, orphanage leaders, family-based care people. We have to work together, the government, we have to come together, work together to ensure that our kids are safe. It's all about the children. Everybody has a child that you love and you want the best for. And so, really the goal here is how do we prevent kids from entering orphanages? The kids who are in the orphanages, what happens to them? What are the capacity, staff capacity? How do we build on capacity of staff? And then kids who are aging out of those orphanages, because I feel like we don't really talk more about kids who are aging out, and how do we prepare kids to age out of those orphanages. So that is our goal, that at the end of 2 days, that we will really deep dive, and we will really connect with each other. And so please, I would advise you, get to know 5 or 10 people that you don't know. This is not, if you come from Nigeria, just don't hang out with people who come from Nigeria. Get to know people from Ghana, Togo, Guinea, and let's be friends after this conference. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful time here.
Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge the representative of the British High Commission in this space. I didn't get his name, but you're welcome, sir. We celebrate you. Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you.
All right, please let's give them a round of applause. At least now you know why you're here and your minds are open. In case you were scared, you were unsure, now you have a better idea. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sandra and Ade. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. So like as they had mentioned, we have a very important personality in our midst. And we have all agreed that we can come up with these ideas, we can talk about it, but what makes it sustainable is making government be part of it. Let's hear their voices. Coming up shortly to give us a keynote address is a very intelligent lawyer. She was the former Minister for Gender, Children, and Social Protection in Ghana. And a lot of the care reforms that Ghana currently has came during her tenure. She's currently the Deputy Chief of Staff, Finance and Administration, and she will be coming up to give us a keynote address focusing on the care reform of Ghana's journey. Please, with a standing ovation and a big round of applause, let's welcome Honorable Nana Oye Ado Bampo. Please, let's give her a big round of applause. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes forward. Let's give her a big round of applause as she comes forward. Please, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Please have a seat. I'm very grateful, and there are loads of friends and colleagues I have worked with here, but let me mention Ni, who is a traditional leader and is very passionate about children and takes care of children in his orphanage. Yes, we have had a wonderful relationship, and it's one of the orphanages that the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, visits and supports. And every year for the President's birthday, he visits his orphanage and supports them. Thank you. And also, Auntie Helena is here. Auntie Helena, please stand up for recognition. Auntie Helena was the director in charge of Osu Children's Home 10-15 years ago. Then also social welfare and the Department for Children when I was minister, and she did amazing work, and I'm happy to see her. And Benedicta. Benedicta is also a lawyer who worked with me when I was in civil society at the Human Rights Advocacy Center. And when I became a minister, we had to draft the affirmative action bill. There was no money. So the two of us sat days and nights and drafted the affirmative action policy. And we both lectured at the Faculty of Law and GIMPA also. So thank you, Benedicta. Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, the convener of the West Africa Alternative Care Conference, our country conference coordinator, distinguished panelists, our partners, practitioners, advocates, ladies and gentlemen, I would not have missed this conference for anything. When the invitation arrived, I looked for everything, I cleared everything else on my plate and said, I'll have to be here. And I'm very grateful to the organizers for being able to accommodate my schedule. And we have agreed that I'll share my reflections now and take my leave. But I ask that whatever I contribute today finds its way in any resolutions that you may come up with. And on this note, thank you so much for accommodating me. I was supposed to speak at 1 o'clock, but I have a very important meeting at the Office of the President, so I'll have to take leave. And so thank you for accommodating me. I'm here to speak on Ghana's care reform journey. But before I speak about what has been done, I want to briefly set the stage, because what is happening around our children right now has never been more than urgent. We saw a video in Ghana a few days ago, and in the recent weeks and months, we have been reminded of the most painful ways on how fragile our children's safety can be. So I'll just give 3 examples and then move into the care reform journey. 2 weeks ago, we had to conduct an emergency evacuation of Ghanaians from South Africa following a devastating wave of xenophobic attacks. So a week ago, I was at the airport together with the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs to receive 342 Ghanaian nationals who were airlifted home. And amongst these were children. So as I walked through the plane, almost every other seat was a very young child, babies who were also coming back to Ghana. They didn't choose this. They had arrived in Ghana, and what comes next? What sort of care reform structure or architecture do we have to support them? We recall what happened in Nigeria in 2014 when Boko Haram stormed a school in the dead of night and abducted 276 children. The abduction broke that promise that a school is a safe place for children. And it sent a message to the entire generation of girls in West Africa that learning can be dangerous. We also saw a video of a 2-year-old child being beaten with a pair of slippers by a mother or a woman. Digital verification tools confirmed that was in Uganda. The horror of this video was not just about the location, but the intimacy, the fact that it wasn't a stranger beating up a 2-year-old, but the 2-year-old's own mother, his or her first protector. This was also and can be a source of a child's pain. There are so many stories. I'll come to personal reflections on our care reform journey and how we have impacted or what we have done about it. So right from civil society, executive director of the Human Rights Advocacy, doing a lot of human rights work, I received a call and I became the first minister for gender, children, and social protection in Ghana in February 2013. This was the first ever consolidation of social welfare, children, elderly persons, women, social protection. So we called, and Auntie Helena would vouch, we called our ministry the People's Ministry. And we had to identify our values and what we would do. The strength of our position was the fact that we had certain key officials who had worked in childcare and welfare, and so had some skills, capacity, competency on what to do. The downside was financial resources. That was a big issue. And if you look at the budget of Ghana, and I'm sure other West African countries, you'll find out that the budget, the percentage devoted for care reform, devoted for children, devoted for welfare, devoted for women is very limited, sometimes even under 5%. So that is where we start. So our strategy at the Ministry of Children, Gender, Children, and Social Protection was to create very strong partnerships with development partners and stakeholders and see what the low-hanging fruits were. So this is what we did. We also did a deep dive and diagnosis on what the issues and problems were and where we should start. So one key gap was the legal and policy framework. So we adopted a strategy to strengthen the legal and policy framework. What did we do? We looked at coming up with a child and family welfare policy. The first time ever in Ghana, we had a policy on children and welfare. So that we were able to get our cabinet to adopt a family and welfare policy for children. We also got adopted a juvenile justice policy at the highest level. So cabinet adopted a juvenile justice policy. So that would take care of young persons, young offenders, and young persons who found themselves in trouble with the law. We also got adopted a national gender policy, which was a national framework for gender equality and women's empowerment. We also know that in West Africa and Ghana, we have young children also working as domestic workers and adolescent girls and young women working as domestic workers. So we came up with regulations for domestic workers. It was all to provide that protective framework of legal protection for young girls or young women who found themselves working at this very young age. We also have a phenomenon in Ghana where we have young girls coming from the northern parts of our country to work as carriers of porters in our markets. So you go to the market and they will carry your wares for you. We call them kayaye. And we have thousands and thousands of them, especially in our regional capitals and in our markets. There was a need to also protect them. So we work with UNFPA and other development partners to do a livelihood training for them and also to give them some form of social protection, free national health insurance registration so that they could get access to health. We also realized that the rate of teenage pregnancy was very high, so we had a national program that supported teenage pregnancy reduction and prevention. Apart from that, we looked at orphanages. We looked at adoption. We got the data that showed that due to our weak institutional processes for adoption, adoption was being abused. I'll give you 2 examples where I got a call from an ambassador in one European country where 2 Ghanaian children who had been adopted were being used for sex trade. And in the evening, they would have to dance. Their foster parents or adopted parents got them to dance before an audience, and then they would be traded for sex. And there was one where there was, in an Arab state, also organ transplants, organs of the children was taken and sold. The problem was that after adoption, we didn't know what happened to the children when they went to their respective parents or countries. So we did a whole overhaul of the adoption processes. We also were able to ratify the inter-country adoption, the Hague Convention, and we placed a moratorium on adoption, and you could only adopt if it was approved by the minister. It was just to sanitize the system. So now we have an adoption authority. In 2016, we were able to get the Children's Act amended so that it would be in conformity with the Intercountry Hague Convention on Intercountry on Adoptions. And we also strengthened the adoption processes by creating a database from which one would select if you wanted to adopt. We know it is not proof, it's not 100% good, but at least we have started the process of reform so that our children who have to be given up for adoption would be better protected. We also started reform of the orphanages in Ghana, and so we had the registration of orphanages and some form of regulations. We were not able to finish with that. We also looked at, like I said, juvenile justice, and looked at adjudication, and came up with a juvenile justice policy. We realized that there was also a need to look at capacity building and also training for our social welfare officers, and also to create a center of excellence for care reform and for training social welfare officers for West Africa. So we're able to get some funds from Get Fund to come up with a facility at Medina. I'm sure it hasn't gone far, but that was the thinking around that. We have a school of social welfare, and we thought that that could be a training ground so that once we do the care reforms, we could have capacity building and training for the government officials and other stakeholders who would now be the ones to advance that. So that was the thinking of also seeking accreditation for the School for Social Work. So we were able to seek accreditation for that. We also had to deal with issues of child labor and child trafficking. And we were able to secure funding and work with USAID and others to also sanitize the whole infrastructure of child trafficking. And I'm very happy. I don't know whether Abna is here. She's not here. She was with Auntie Helena's twin sister. Where is she? She's not here. Yeah. So they worked on creating the architecture and infrastructure at the government level for to address child trafficking and reduce child trafficking. And I'm happy that governments, we have made a lot of inroads into addressing child trafficking and child labor. So in terms of I'll just give you a glance of what we did. So we have a social protection system where we give very poor, vulnerable households an amount of money between $10 and $15 every 2 months. And so when I became a minister, we were covering 71,936 households. By the time I left, we were covering 213,000 households, an increase of 196%. We were covering 100 districts. By the time I left, we were covering all the 216 districts, and that translates into 855,372 persons who were benefiting. So every month we're giving them 36 to 40 Ghana, and then we increased that to 44 Ghana cedis. So 213,000 households for LEAP. School feeding too were able to expand because that was having an impact on children's ability to attend school. So we got 1.7 million children being fed daily under the government of Ghana's school feeding program. We also had 800 orphans who were sheltered and looked after. We did very simple things, like if you had to apply for a custody care order within our administration of justice program, social welfare had to come up with the document. Alina, what's the name of the document? The social enquiry report. And we were having problems with that. So we had to re-look at how we could come up with a very comprehensive social enquiry report that would now help us to place children. We also were able to train 1,512 caregivers. And we realized that vulnerable children were also subjected to domestic violence. So in our reform, we made sure that we created and adopted regulations. Parliament got regulations. We submitted regulations to Parliament on domestic violence and also human trafficking. So by the time we were leaving office in 2016, we had gotten Parliament to adopt regulations for human trafficking and domestic violence, and also fostering, because fostering was very natural to our Ghanaian sociocultural context. And I'm sure if we go around this room, this conference room, several adults would say that, yes, I know my father fostered my nephew or my cousin when my uncle died, or yes, we looked after A or B. So it was so akin and aligned with our sociocultural context. And so we adopted foster care regulations to make it easier and to create a legal framework for foster care in Ghana. Because we realized that children were also being abused through fostering. And so there was a need to create a legal framework to protect the rights of children who were subjected to fostering. So we also did that. We also realized that there was a need for data. I remember when I was summoned to Parliament to answer a question on interventions that government had made to address the Kayaye problem, the girls who were coming from the north to Accra. And it was so difficult to get accurate data. So what did we do? With support from UNICEF and support from the World Bank, we were able to set up a household registry, which we call the Ghana National Household Registry, the first ever in West Africa and the second in Africa. And we're able to collate and get data on children, on women, on families, so we could tell the poorest community in Ghana. We could tell the number of children or girls, teenage girls who were married in that community. It influenced social protection interventions. It also influenced targeting for girls who had dropped out of school and several others. And I'm happy that when COVID struck and we had to be confined to our communities and our homes, the Ghana National Household Registry data was used to target the most vulnerable families who needed rations and who needed food. So we realized from the onset that we would need data in the care reform infrastructure. We also were able to get DFID and other development partners, and we came up with the first very comprehensive data on violence against women. So the Statistical Service in 2015, together with DFID and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, were able to come up with the first comprehensive data on violence against women, including violence against children. So we looked at data collection so that we could get the numbers and we could target in our care reform process. We looked at the institutions, particularly the Department of Social Welfare. We wanted to transition the Department of Social Welfare to become a Department of Social Services. And we got the Office of Head of Civil Service under the management MSD. They have a directorate there to help us to strategize on how we could transition our social welfare department into a department that provided social services. We're not able to finish that process. Then we also strengthened key institutions like the School of Social Work and others to help. We were also in the process of looking at the various levels of governance. At the district level, what do we need to do in terms of the care reform process? Who do we need to train? Who should be the eye for looking after and supporting children in need of care at the district level? At the regional level, what structure should we put in place? And also at the national level, what structures should we put in place? So we set something in motion to address that. So we knew that we had at the district assembly level a committee of the district assembly. We also had the social welfare officer. And what we sought to do was to also identify an officer who could take care of persons with disability. And also we had the girl-child education officer at the district level. So in our training at the national level at the ministry, we took all these relevant stakeholders or government officers into consideration whenever we did training for child care or other related services. What we also did was to strengthen social protection. And what we did was to create a social protection system and make sure that every child who benefited from school feeding also benefited from free national health insurance. So 300,000 children who were benefiting and getting a hot meal every day in a government school from primary level to junior high level, 300,000 of them were put on national health insurance free of charge. At the international level, we also knew that if we complied with our international conventions, it would go a long way to pool resources for the child care reform. So we were able to submit our reports to the UN Commission on the Convention on the Rights of the Child, because you know Ghana was the first to ratify the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. So we had to make sure that we'll do the right thing. So we were able to comply. Our third and fifth reports we defended. I led a delegation to defend in October 2016 in Geneva. Also, the African reports too, we were able to file and also defend. So in terms of the framework, and Cabo, you can go to that page 5. In terms of the framework, a child and family welfare policy launched in July 2015, Justice for Children policy launched in September 2016, an early childhood care and development committee inaugurated. Then we also focused on recreational centers and parks for children. It was very, very, very difficult, so we're not able to make a lot of inroads, and complied with our international child protocols, and also created a database, centralized database on child protection data, and got the Children's Act amended to provide for adoption and foster care, and also the Justice for Children, And then for alternate care, adoption and child trafficking, we created a central adoption authority and placed a moratorium on child adoption. We ratified the Hague Convention on Intercountry Adoption, and also the regulations, human trafficking regulations, and also were able to secure a child protection compact of $5 million from the US government, and also did a lot. We also addressed child marriage. We had a very big African regional conference on child marriage, where first ladies from the whole of Africa came and were also able to adopt a child marriage strategy plan. The whole plan was to reduce child marriage. And at that time, Ghana was one of the 5th highest countries in Africa for prevalence of child marriage. So we also adopted a strategic plan. The strategic plan has run out, and we have another one adopted. And we created a coordination unit under the Ministry of Gender. That was in February 2016. And the child marriage strategy plan was actually launched by the President of Ghana, with the Chief Justice of Ghana, the Speaker of Parliament of Ghana were all there, and we did a lot of work under that. We also addressed adolescent and sexual and reproductive health, but you all know that that is like my favorite my favorite subject, so of course that would. And we also did quite a lot of work for street children, from street to school projects, which Auntie Helena championed. We upgraded the School of Social Work, and also had the USAID Social Welfare Workforce Partnership. The long and short of it is that the whole approach and idea was to address vulnerabilities of children, was to be sensitive to vulnerabilities of children, focus on the child as the center, ensure that we had the data and we were able to target children, strengthen our institutions, and also ensure that we had a strong legal and policy framework to address child care reform. This is being continued. It was continued under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and it's being continued under Mahama too. But the key is to do a deep dive and diagnosis, work at the highest level of government, get an ally at the highest level of government to be able to initiate or support these reforms, and even get key governors, key government officials like the Minister of Finance to understand and appreciate why resources should be voted and approved in national budgets for care reform. That is so very, very critical. And so this is what I have. We need, it never stops, and we need to continue to sensitize, we need to advocate, And we need to communicate all these issues so that at the end of the day, that vulnerable child is taken care of, lives in a healthy, safe environment, and becomes a well-meaning adult who can live his or her life and also enjoy all the benefits of an adult or a child who has been given all the opportunities like any other child. This is what the Convention on the Rights of the Child tells us, and this is what our African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child and our respective laws in our country tells us. And this is what is in most of our hearts. That is why we are here today. Thank you.
Please, can we keep clapping? Let's give an amazing, amazing round of applause to Honorable Nana. I mean, she's not just talking, she's been doing, and we're excited that she's been able to make time to be part of this. Quickly, she has another place to be. She'll be going back to Accra town. She made a sacrifice to come here. So quickly, please, we'll be taking a few pictures with her before she goes. So please, I will invite her back on stage and invite all our sponsors, government representatives, and speakers upstage to take a quick picture with her. Please, can I get help with the podium? Please, let's bring her back upstage alongside speakers, sponsors, and government officials. Please, can we have her back upstage alongside speakers, sponsors, and government officials. Please, let's have speakers, sponsors, government officials.
That's why I love you forevermore.
While the arrangement for the photo is ongoing, I'd like to just quickly mention that we will be having greetings from the following people. So please, we will be reaching out to you shortly just to notify you.
This media, can you help us set up so they take the pictures? Thank you very much.
So we would like the following people should just be ready for their goodwill messages or fraternal messages. Talking about Mr. George Boateng from SOS Ghana. We'll also later on be having Mr. Abdulrahman Idrisu, the Executive Director from Brave Aurora. Please get ready, sir. It's just going to be a 1-minute goodwill message. Mr. Sapfa from Village of Hope, please get ready.
Thank you. Quickly, let's have the team members for the planning committee quickly take one picture with her before she leaves. Let's have the team members from the planning committee take one picture before she leaves, please. One more picture with the planning committee. Let's have the WAX 2026 team. Can we have the WAX 2026 team take a picture with her before she leaves?
Alright, we will also be having people from the following organizations give us their goodwill messages, so they should be ready. Trauma Free World, Back to Back, Both Ends Believing.
Please, can we have the WAX 2026 team take a quick picture with her? WAX 2026 team. Please, let's have you take a picture with her. Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause as she takes her leave. Let's give her a round of applause as she takes her leave.
Goodwill message, sir. 1 minute. A round of applause as he comes up. Okay. Please kindly put your hands together for Mr. George as he comes up for a goodwill message.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you all. It is a great opportunity for us to meet this way as we try to deliberate on how we can improve childcare in Ghana, Nigeria, and all the other countries involved. As we all know, institutional care has performed its functions years back. And now, we are all agreeing that institutions are not the best place for any child. And therefore, we need to have a change and be deliberate in the implementation of these changes that we formulate. And we believe that at this workshop, we are going to come out with clear pathways and implementation plans and be committed to these plans so that when we go back home, we are going to bring this change. We are very grateful to the organizers of this 2 days workshop, and we believe that it's going to be very, very beneficial to everybody. Thank you all for creating this opportunity for us, and we believe our participation is going to be very massive. Thank you. From SOS Children Villages, Ghana.
Thank you very much, sir. The next person we will be having to come up stage is Mr. Leonard Goba, representative from British High Commission. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes up stage.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, distinguished guests. We from the British High Commission are pleased to join you at this summit on advancing alternative care reforms across West Africa. The United Kingdom aligns with the ambitions of this conference, and as you might know, our former Foreign Secretary and now the Deputy Prime Minister launched a care reform package, a charter where countries were called on to sign on so that together we'll all work together on advancing care for our disadvantaged children. On that, we want to commend the government of Ghana and other governments that have already started some progress on roadmaps for care reforms. And we are proud to support those agendas across different countries. This summit presents an excellent opportunity for us to deepen those collaborations and accelerate implementation, very important. It is good to have all the policies, all the roadmaps, but if we don't put money to it, if we don't implement them, they just stay on the shelves and become redundant. So we join you today, and together, let us ensure that no child is left behind and that every child grows up where they belong. That is the family. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Please, we will now be inviting a representative from Back to Back to give us a quick good little message. Let's invite Pastor Nehemiah. Please, let's give him a round of applause as he comes to give us a goodwill message. Thank you so much. As he comes up, let's have Trauma Free World get ready, and then both ends believing. Thank you.
Thank you all. On behalf of Back to Back, I want to say that it has been an honor for Back to Back to partner with organizations for safety and well-being of the orphan child, to see kids placed in homes, become healthy, attend good schools and obtain good education, grow and become independent. This reform and this platform is truly an honor for us to be a part of this very conference. And we want to say, because of this growth and because of what is happening, that kids are becoming better, Back to Back will continue to support and work with this organization. And so we are grateful for the opportunity offered to Back to Back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, so we will now invite the West African Regional Manager for Trauma Free World, Miss ANAGKAZO. Let's give her a round of applause for her goodwill message.
Good morning, friends. It's such an honor to be here. I especially bring you warm greetings, Trauma Free World. Our special appreciation goes out to the conveners of this conference. Thank you for bringing partners and like-minded individuals to a room where we can connect and learn and partner and collaborate for the cause of the child. We are committed to this cause, and I hope that we can hit the ground running from here. And like our parent organization will say, every child is known and loved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be inviting the assistant to the regional manager for Both Ends Believe in Africa, Brenda Kubbe, to give us the goodwill for Both Ends Believe in. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much.
All right, good morning, everyone. And Kobgabe Brenda from Both Ends Believing. I'm really glad to be here, and we are honored to be here as BEB. We're glad that we are meeting different partners today that share the same vision of seeing every child growing in a loving family. Thank you so much for organizing this, and we are blessed to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Representing Village of Hope, Mr. Sapa Yahaya, the head of operations, Village of Hope. Let's give him a round of applause as he gives the goodwill message. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. So I'm from Village of Hope, and I'm representing Dr. Fred Asare, who for other important engagements couldn't make it today. We're at WAX 2025 in Nigeria, and it was very helpful to us as an organization. We learned a lot from there, and we've implemented a lot of the things since that summit. So we are so much grateful to be here today. Village of Hope is 30 years this year, and when we look back, there are a lot of things that we want to correct, and we are sure that from this summit, we'll be able to learn a lot that will help us to correct things that we haven't done well in the past. So we are so much grateful to be here today, and we welcome all of you. And we know that this summit is going to help us as people who are committed with one purpose. This will help us to strengthen the commitment to nurturing, empowering, and transforming lives for the better. So we wish all of us successful and fruitful deliberations, discussions, and fellowship. And we know that we are going to have a successful conference at the end of the summit. So we welcome all of you, and we are so much grateful to be part of this summit 2026 in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to keep coming with the goodwill messages as we go, but we'll do a little switch. We know that you've heard from the government through the minister. You've heard what they've been doing. We also want you to hear from a network, just a message, and also to share how far they have come since WAX 2026. Doing that is no other than a very powerful force under the network of Association of Orphanages and Home Operators in Nigeria. We have over 700 organizations under that network. With a round of applause, we will be inviting Reverend Dr. Gabriel Oyedeji to come and take us on this session. Please let's give him a big round of applause. Let's give him a big round of applause as she comes forward.
I'd like to stand on a system protocol. Nevertheless, let me specifically appreciate those God has used to bring this program together. I sincerely appreciate and deeply appreciate Adiolowo and their sister, Sandra Chikan, for their initiative. Sandra is a lady that when you give her a seed, she turned it to harvest of fruit. And this is one of the fruits of initiative and opportunity given to her to serve as the regional president in Nigeria. We are grateful for everything. And like I always said, don't look for money, look for relationship. Relationship will bring favor. Favor will solve the problem of money. When you have relationship, you can be sure you are. Let me just read what I have and to follow. You can save our time quickly. The journey since 25, when the first WAC meeting was held, distinguished delegates, government representatives, development partners, fellow practitioners, ladies, I bring greetings from Association of Offices and Homes in Nigeria, acronym ASOHON. And when we greet ourselves, we have a slogan. When I say up ASOHON, we say the powerful voice for the powerless children. Up ASOHON. Up ASOHON. The powerful voice for the powerless children. Now, I bring greetings that it's both an honor and a privilege to stand before this distinguished gathering and reflect on ASOHON's journey since the Holistic West African Alternative Care Summit of 2025 held in Jos Plateau, Nigeria. That gathering marked a defining moment in our collective pursuit of the future where every child grows grow up in the safety, love, and protection of our family. The 2025 conference was not merely another event or a usual event. It represented the birth of a regional movement dedicated to transforming child protection systems from advancing family-based care across West Africa, bringing together policymakers, social workers, researchers, orphanage operators, faith leaders, and development partners. The summit created a platform for shared learning and collaborative action aimed at moving beyond institutional care towards sustainable family solutions. For ASOHON, the conference became a catalyst for renewed purpose and strategic transformation, strengthening our vision. Since the conference, ASOHON has increasingly embraced the philosophy that child belongs in family, that children belong in family. While institutional care has provided refuge and hope for countless vulnerable children, we recognize that the ultimate goal is not merely to build a better institution, but to strengthen families and communities so that children can thrive in nurturing environment. This shift has guided our policies, our program, and our advocacies. Expanding stakeholder collaboration. One of the greatest outcomes of 2025 summit was the strengthening of partnership. We have witnessed increased collaboration among government agencies, child protection network, faith-based organization, development partners, and home operators. This partnership has enabled us to engage in policy discussion, share practices, and pursue common objectives for the welfare of children throughout Nigeria and West African region. We also look at promoting foster care and family strengthening. ASON has intensified advocacy for foster care, kinship care, adoption, and family strengthening system. In fact, we went on a trip to Kenya for a learning visit on foster care. And we have been bringing this down, stepping it down to all our states and our homes in Nigeria. We have consistently called upon government and stakeholders to invest in policy that empowers vulnerable families and prevent unnecessary separation of children from their homes. Our message remains clear. The best place for a child is within a loving and supportive family. We'll also look at capacity building and professional development. Last year's conference highlighted the importance of building stronger systems and equipping caregivers with necessary knowledge and skill. Since then, ASON continued to provide training and mentorship opportunity for operators and caregivers, promoting trauma-informed care, safeguarding principles, and sustainable child development practices. We recognize that the quality of care requires competent and compassionate professionals. It has also exposed us to embracing technology and innovation. Kudos to BEB organization who brought this down. A very important lesson from the conference was the role of digital platform and innovation in enhancing child protection. Discussion on technology-driven case management and stakeholder coordination has inspired us to explore more efficient approaches to communication, data management, and collaborative service delivery. Building a regional movement, another value. The 2025 summit envisioned more than national reforms. It envisioned a West African movement. Today, the vision continues to gain big momentum. From Nigeria to Ghana and across the sub-region, we are witnessing growing commitment to strengthening legal frameworks, enhancing implementation strategies, and promoting family-based alternatives. The continuation of West African Alternative Care Summit in Accra, Ghana, today demonstrates that movement has evolved from dialogue to action. What about our challenges and our opportunities? We acknowledge that significant challenge remains. Poverty, inadequate social support system, policy gaps, cultural barriers, and limited resources continue to affect our efforts. Yet, these challenges present opportunity for innovation, collaboration, and renewed commitment. We must move from isolated intervention to integrated system that place the child and family at the center of our work. What is the future and the road ahead? We look to the future. As we look to the future, ASON remain committed to promoting family-based care and permanency solution, strengthening family and communities, building capacity of caregivers in our institutions, encouraging research and evidence-based practices, fostering regional cooperation and partnership, advocating policies that prioritizes the best interests of every child. Ladies and gentlemen, our journey since 2025 work has taught us that lasting change is possible when vision meets up with collaboration. The future of Nigerian child depends on all of us seated here, and we cannot downplay it. Together we can build a system that are compassionate, sustainable, and truly centered on need of children. May you remember this generation as a generation that transformed care, strengthened families, and restored hope to millions of vulnerable children across Africa. We want to say for homes and institutions, the transitioning from institutional care to family-based care has been a significant learning curve and a great experience for us, and we are up to task of following it. As of today, all the homes in Nigeria as a structure or organization are aware of alternative family-based care, and we are working that route. We are not going to look back. We will not look back. As we continue moving from, you see, they said if you have not checked your other people's farm, you tell people your own farm, your father's farm is the biggest. But when you take a look at other people's farm, you now know that your father's farm may not be the biggest. Opening our hearts, even what we just gained from Ghana experience and structuring today, has shown us that we Nigerians have a long way to go, and we will go that way. So it's a learning curve for all of us seated here, and I want to thank the organizer and conveners for the selection, for the theme of this program. Because the biggest challenge we are facing is not initiative of program, it's not setting or writing up policy guidelines, it's not launching policy guidelines, it's implementation. The biggest issue of our time is implementation. And at that point, our powers are limited. Formal care and informal care system. In the informal care system, we are doing it the way we feel our grandparents did it the way they liked, structuring it and transitioning it from informal to formal care. You have to go through legal framework. And when you get to the ministry, they will tell you all this. You have launched alternative guidelines yesterday, but implementation is still standing with the legal department and legal director of the ministry. And that can be there forever. And that's the biggest challenge of our time. We have good policies. We could have moved far beyond what we read from the guest speaker just now. But the policy problem, implementation problem, implementation bureaucracy, implementation delay. And that's the subject of this year conference. And if through ideas and interaction we can overcome this, we can get back to our state, our countries, and begin to work towards it, and we shall achieve it. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
Applause. Thank you so much, sir. All right, very quickly, I'd like to recognize the presence of members of the Department of Social Welfare. Can you just wave? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being. A round of applause for them. We're going to be taking a couple of goodwill messages, so I would like to call on the Executive Director of Brave Aurora in the person of Mr. Abdul Rahman Idrisu. Please keep clapping as he comes up stage.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Brave Aurora, I would love to thank the organizers of WACS for pulling off this incredible summit. I would also love to thank our partners for being here and for pushing the envelope for family-based care, not just in West Africa, in Africa and across the globe. Because I see partners from the UK, some from Uganda, and Madagascar, Rwanda, etc. We are just happy to have you all here. I would also want to give special thanks to the Department of Social Welfare once again. They have traversed hundreds of kilometers to join us from northern Ghana, and we are truly grateful. I think they really deserve a round of applause. I'm also giving them this special thanks because every time we convene, we talk about how we can make things better. We put policies together, but they are the frontline people who translate these policies into real change and into action. And without them, the work on the grounds is not successful. So this is why I would love to give them thanks. And I want to add that at Brave Aurora, our work is hinged on one fundamental truth, and it's that children belong in families. I think Reverend mentioned it very well. So our work over the years has been, how can we work with partners, government partners, development partners, to ensure that we can have children reunified in family, provide aftercare service, and importantly, provide case management for children within residential homes. This helps us to ensure that the work we do is data-driven and also evidence-based. And I'm very happy that the team focuses on how we can leapfrog just commitment to implementation. And this is very exciting for me. I want to hear from partners how we are able to navigate this and also to share experiences. We also have care leavers with us, and I'm delighted to also hear their perspectives on reintegration. Thank you very much, and I wish you a nice program. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, let's give him a round of applause as he takes his seat. Thank you. If you're wondering why we've had so many people just come to say a goodwill message, I'm sure I've seen people take notes, they're writing, because you're getting to know who and who is here, and you're getting to connect with them. We're going to transition into the next phase, which is the main stage talks. But before we do that, we realize that we have 13 countries present in the hall, and we just want to give you a quick shout out before we transition into the talks. So I'm going to call you by countries, and when I do, I want you to stand up and we just give you a big round of applause. So I encourage and I call each one of you to just celebrate everyone who has made a sacrifice to be here today. I'm going to start with Sierra Leone. If you're from Sierra Leone and you're in the hall, let's give them a big, big round of applause. Sierra Leone, let's celebrate Sierra Leone. Thank you very much. Zimbabwe, we have someone from Zimbabwe. Let's give a big, big, big round of applause from Zimbabwe. Of course, we have representatives from the United States of America. Let's give them a big, 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 big round of applause. We also have representatives from Rwanda. Let's give them a big, 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 big round of applause. Big, big round of. We have representations from Kenya. Let's give them a big, big, big round of applause. We also have representatives from Liberia. Let's give them a big, big, big round of applause. We have representatives from Ivory Coast. Let's give them a big, big, big round of applause. Great. We're moving forward. We have representatives from Togo. Let's give them a very big round of applause. Of course, we have representation from the United Kingdom. Let's give them a big, big, big round of applause. We have representation from Madagascar. Let's give them a big round of applause. So I'm going to say this one with extra energy. We have representatives from my other country, Uganda. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah. So we have representatives, of course. We have representatives from the biggest Nigeria. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, and most importantly, we have representatives from Ghana. Let's give them a big, big round of applause. So for this one, because I made a mistake, we're going to all stand up and give him a big round of applause. We have representation from the Gambia. Let's give him a big, 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 big round of applause from Gambia. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
And we have representatives of Ethiopia. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much. And if I forgot your country, just alert me. I will come and give you a shout out. So moving on, I guess we are more relaxed now. We're here for serious business. It's time for us to move a little bit to serious business. And if you have friends at home, don't forget that Go TV and Clock TV are showing us live right now. And they've been doing an amazing job because the whole of Ghana is watching us. Ghana is here with us. Let's give them a big round of applause. Note that the live stream is still on Clock TV, so you can share with friends and family to watch. And also Go TV, on Go TV, channel 184. So if you're local here and you want to tell your family to join and see what's going on, please go to Go TV, channel 184, Clock TV. Also, to tell your people from back home what's going on here, please follow us on all our social media. We are currently live streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please tell your friends and family that we're live streaming currently on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you so much. We're moving on to serious business. And it's time for us to listen, to take our time and just hear and get ready to ask questions. One thing we've come to understand in this job and in this life is that anyone who wants to grow never stops learning. And so it's really time for us to learn. We're going to be inviting our first speaker. He's a young man who is passionate about children. He started his job as a caregiver, and so he understands the grassroots of just taking care of children. And he's currently the country director, Nigeria, for Back-to-Back Ministries. They've been a strong partner advocating for family-based care, pushing for transition and ensuring that caregivers have a plan for the future. Please, with a round of applause, help me welcome my friend and my brother, Mr. Azubike Kalu. Please, let's give him a big round of applause as he comes up stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoni. Good afternoon. It is a sweet honor, privilege to be here. All protocols observed. I would like to especially appreciate Ade, Mrs. C, for this push. Lord is seeing you and is encouraging you. I will continue to enable you because this movement is very important. It's very important in our times. It's very important for the future because we all are a cloud of witnesses in this room to agree that children belong in families, right? All right, I'm in the right place. Like Yoni said, I've been working with kids and families for over 12 years now. Before then in Nigeria, after college, you do a one-year program we call the National Youth Service Corps. In that program, you have to mostly serve with kids, go to a school that is. So I did that. Before then, I've been loving kids, but that was the beginning for me. So 12 years ago, after that, I started working with Back-to-Back Ministries. And then before starting or getting into Mrs. Sarah's home, actually, all I knew about orphans or vulnerable children as a Christian was that God is the father of the fatherless. That's the biggest thing I knew. I don't do much about going to visit kids in orphanage and stuff like that. But when I started working, I knew the meaning of that Bible verse. And that's why I'm very honored to be here. Because if that verse is true, that God is the father of the fatherless, I mean, imagine, some of you, if you have kids, would you wave, please? I have 3 lovely kids. My beautiful wife is here, Victoria. If you have kids, you would not put your kids in care of any kind of person, correct? We're talking about God's kids. I'd like to announce to you that you're a selected, awesome person. Because he will not leave his kids with any kind of person. So you being here, that's why I'm excited. You are selected by God specially to take care of his kids. That is amazing. Moses, if you're ready for me. All right, I'm talking on a topic, promoting family strengthening at scale. Investing in prevention, reunification, family support system. We all know that we have data, we have statistics. But statistics from UNICEF says that over 80% of children in children's homes have families. They have someone, right? And we're in Africa, especially in West Africa. The culture of my uncle's child, my father's this, is swinging away. Why is that? That's why we're applauding Mrs. C. Anade for bringing our attention back to that. Where did that go to? How do we scale back into recognizing that every child in the African context belongs to a home? Not just any kind of home, a home that has family ties. We know all the alternative care options, right? But where is the best place for a child to be? Next slide. So in back-to-back ministries, that's what our vision is. And that's why we're here, because we'll continue to support the idea, the agenda that every child belongs in a family. The vision of back-to-back is the same thing. Our goal is that every child feels known and loved. That's the mission that we'll all pursue. That a hope for a child today leads to a future tomorrow. When I started working as a caregiver in a children's home in Jos, like I said, all I knew was one thing. But I started to see how they didn't care. They didn't care about what you're saying. Most of them went to school. They didn't care about that. They didn't care about what you're saying. They didn't care that there's something for them. The education you're telling them to go to school to get, they didn't care that it has something for them. Do we know why? It is because the people who they lived with told them that they would never amount to anything. That is their family. That is their mother telling a child that you're stupid like your father, you're big head like your mother, and all of that stuff. They believed it. They will believe it because those are the people they trust the most, right? They will believe it. That is investment, like you all do every single day, even by being here, is the investment in the things that you know, in the hope that you can give them today that can build a future for tomorrow. In Africa, I don't know if about the rest of the world, we said that tomorrow, children are the leaders of tomorrow. That context mostly feels comfortable in a home. Because you want to talk about the future for the children, you're providing for them. You're providing education, spiritual support. What about the orphan child? Are they in that context? That the future belongs to them? That future is in two perspectives, right, by the way. The future of being a president, a governor, a doctor. There's another perspective of the future of armed robbers, right? Those were kids someday. What kind of context do you think they grew up with? Those ones who are kidnappers today. Even in some of the horrible things happening in Nigeria with kidnapping, we see that they are kids. What kind of context did they grow up? That is the future. That is a future that started someday. So that future is in two contexts. That is why it's important that we're here. Next slide, please. So the question we'll ask ourselves as we move on, why does family strengthening matter? Why does it matter? All the perspective of family strengthening that you know, the models that you've built in your organization, why does it matter? Why do we have to continue to dig deep and fight and say that family is the best place for a child to thrive? How many children enter alternative care because they truly have no family? How many enter because their families lack support. Next slide. So those are the questions I hope that you continue to ponder with, because they are very, very important questions. So the orphan care reform across West Africa is shifting from institutional care towards family-based care, because we all believe in that. The reality facing families in West Africa is around these three major things. Economic hardship. We know how, because, like we said, over 80% of kids in children's homes, they do have somebody. They have a family tie with an aunt, an uncle, one mother, one father. They do have that. So economic ties is one of the big things. Limited income, unemployment, raising living costs, all of those kind of hardship will make a family say, I can't take this anymore. Let me take a child to an orphanage home. Or let me go throw this child in the street. Let me leave a child in a basket in front of a, The second one is stress and trauma. We know how violence is impacting West Africa in different forms. Whether it's loss or displacement through crisis, all of those things happen. And then the last one is community pressure, the stigma, the harmful norms that we have in our communities. Like the guest speaker was talking about how they've done so much work in trying to stop early girl-child marriage, those kind of things. Next slide, please. So these are the realities that are impacting our communities. Children thrive in families. We all know that. We all agree. How much do we say it? If we believe it, how much do we say it? How much do we drive for it? How much do we push for it? Because in that space, there's belonging. What are the kind of norms you teach your child in your home? There's stability for the child. When a child leaves a particular space to another one, something happens. Even my own kids, we had to do a lot of transition just to be here today. Identity, that they belong. They have an identity, they belong somewhere. Environmental, emotional security, and healthy development. Children who grow up in it, we can't stop saying this because we need to believe it. If you believe it, you continue to do something about it. That children grow up, where they grow up in a safe space, they have an opportunity to excel. What is the cost of separation? When that stops happening, what are the kind of things that we're going to see? When children are separated from families, the impact is profound and lasting. There's emotional distress. It starts from there, and it builds onto different kind of vices that we have in our communities today. Educational disruption. We know that education is one of the big tools we can use to build our nations. The loss of belonging, attachment challenges, and increased vulnerability. These separations every single day cause so many kind of issues that we're having today. So why don't we go back? Why don't we go back? Next slide, please. Why don't we go back? But why do we invest in families? Why must we invest in families? Strong families today build a brighter, more resilient tomorrow for every child. We've talked about the two perspectives of tomorrow, the two perspectives of the future. We have a program in Back-to-Back called Strong Families. One of the managers is here. She will come up and tell us a little bit about the experiences that Back-to-Back have been doing in investing in strong families. So why should we invest? Because simply has better outcomes, right? Children thrive emotionally, socially, academically, just in a home. And stronger communities, connected, supportive communities uplift everyone, every single person, and then reduce separation. Next slide, please. Why is it important for the government to be involved? Why? Why is it important? The government is the driving force of our society, right? We have to call on the government, not just coming and agreeing in the things that we do, but enforcing these things, like the amazing things our guest speaker came and spoke about. The social protection that provides safety nets for financial support and keep families stable and secure. If I ask us to raise hands to how we want the government to come and give us that kind of safety net, I'm sure most hands will go up. Mental health. support emotional well-being for children and caregivers, reducing trauma and stress. How can the government lead that? First of all, the government is saying, I want to pursue this with you. It's a big support that anyone sitting in this room will continue to say yes to. And then the workforce, strengthening families and communities, creating a more productive, resilient, and self-sustaining community. Parenting support, strengthen parenting skills and build nurturing relationships that help children thrive. And then helping reunifications. How is the government enforcing foster care systems in our countries, adoption in our countries? Those are the platforms to which children can be in families. How? Next slide, please. How are they supporting this move? So we'll share a little bit about Back to Back, what we have been doing for the past 19 years in Nigeria and 29 years around the globe. Let's welcome Elizabeth.
Akwaba. We were taught how to respond this morning, though. Akwaba. All right. So, but I remembered if it is an elderly female, you say Yena, right? If it is an elderly male, you say Yeja. Then if it is your colleague, you say Yenia. Yes, I got that right. Thank you. Good morning again. So, I am Elizabeth Mark. I am the manager for the Child and Family Development. And we do a lot. And part of what we do is family strengthening in Back to Back. And the department that I am privileged to manage does that. We are also the training arm of the ministry in Nigeria. And then family strengthening, Back to Back has been doing this for so many years. And what we have discovered during these years and the practice in family strengthening and family care is number one, that assessment is a very important place to start. Most of the times when practitioners go into families or communities, we go with, permit me to say, preconceived ideas or solutions for the families. But then when we get there, we discover that everything we do is not really giving us the results or the impact that we desire. The reason is because they have what is need for them. Every family is peculiar. Every family's needs is peculiar to them. We assume that these families are in need. Yes, they are, but then there are strengths also that these families carry. There are resources that they have. And so what is a need for family A may not be a need for family B. Is what we have discovered in the years we have been running this program in Back to Back. So assessment for us is a family strengthening program that is based on identifying family strengths, families' needs, families' resources, and then ways to help them. Please, can you stay on that slide for me? Thank you. So we identify family strengths, families' needs, the risk, resources, and a lot that the family have through assessments. There's what we call in Back to Back the FSI, the Family Status Index. It is a tool that we use of questions or questionnaires that we use to know during family visits what need a particular family has. And when we do this, we're able to identify areas where they need help or intervention. So in some of the families we've seen families who have financial resources. They don't need that support from us. We've seen families who have health issues. It's not finances or food they need, it's health. And so because of the health challenge, they are not able to care for their children. So what we do is we take or address that particular health situation. The family, the parent, the caregiver is strengthening and is back on their feet to care for their children. Because we did for about 5 to 6 years, giving support, food, funds, and other things, and we saw that they were in the same place. for over 5 years. And we started asking questions, what is going on? What is the problem? What are we not doing right? And that was when we discovered that these families don't all have the same needs. These families have other strengths that already they're working on. Some of them have skills, but then they don't have the capital to begin or to run. And so we know through the FSI, and we're able to provide what they need to be able to start up. And we have seen these families become strong, and they're thriving. You know, it has reduced the number of children who go into alternative care. Right now, we're focusing to say, let's strengthen this family so that these children don't have to move. What Back to Back is focusing on right now is preventing separation. We don't want families to be separated, to be apart. Like the director just shared, we see the effect of that after a while. In fact, there's a case right now that we're trusting God, He's helping us already, of a child who lives in the same community with his parents, with his mother, but does not want to go back to the house to stay with the mother. We have other children who are living in some of the alternative care options we have, who come from a community where we're serving, but when it is holiday, when it is vacation, we're saying, go home, see your parents. They don't want to go back. They're saying, I'm going back, I'm going today, I'm spending 2 hours, and I'm coming back the next hour. And we're wondering, this is not what we want. This was not the idea. We want them to go back and be interdependent in their communities, but be independent in their lifestyles. And so we started working on assessments. And assessment is top for us, number one, because it solves every other problem you see down here. Support. We're able to give support because we have assessed and we know what the family needs to be able to have the support that they want. And we are able to allocate the right support to the right families based on the needs that they have. We're able to use the resources within the family and the strength that they have to care for them. We only push them, you know, and show them and guide them on how to go. We don't take it from them. Because do you know what it does when we don't have assessments? It creates dependence. Yeah, they depend on you completely. They don't want to move on. They keep waiting for you to come back and keep feeding them. We don't want that to happen. Then the next is parenting guidance. We do that through skills. We do that through parental training classes and coaching. We have that with them. And then healing. We do that through with the support of Trauma-Free World to give trainings to parents. We say that you cannot take a child or a person to a place you've not been yourself, right? So the parents understand their own story, trauma story, history, get to a place where they can begin to guide their children and give the right parenting. And then also, economic strengthening. Through the assessment, we know what each family needs. And we know what empowerment to give to this family. Is it skills? Is it the capital? Is it a job? Whatever the family is able to find, or whatever we find through the assessments, we give them that help. And we have seen so many families becoming strengthened. How we know that is we assess. And we have done graduations for over 10 families right now. Mothers who are right now caring for their children. They have jobs, they have skills, they have resources within their communities that they use. Thanks to K4, we did a community mapping that helped us also access certain resources in the community, and we connected them to it. Healthcare services and others, and they are able to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next slide, please. Thank you. Those are some practical things we have been doing and we have seen them work. Next slide. What we have learned. We've learned that families often do not lack love. They just need support. They need support. They need the acknowledgement that somebody is seeing them, somebody is with them, and somebody is helping them grow. Next slide. So what are the strategies for scaling? How do we move this forward? I like how the team is not just about the things we've learned from 2025, how are we implementing them? So how do we scale? How are we working together to reach more families, strengthen systems, and create lasting change? One is to strengthen our system. We have those systems. How are we implementing the systems, the models that we have created for family strengthening? Build partnerships. We can't do that alone. We cannot do it alone. How do we partner with ourselves? That's one of the things, that's what our day is great at, connecting people. That's why we're here. That you're not living here without knowing somebody that does something you want to learn something more from, right? How do we build partnerships with the government, with people, with churches, with our faith-based organizations? How do we invest in people, train people to do what they do more, and learn new ways of doing things? I was in East Africa 2 months ago. I was just blown away by the kind of knowledge that they have on care reform. How do we train people? How do we support and empower skill for workforce and community, grace community champions for this that we're talking about? Use data and evidence. We have BEB. How do we use the data that we have to transform the future of kids being in families? Data is too important, right? And raise awareness, shift our mindset, and reduce stigma through community engagement and advocacy. We need to talk more about it. We need to loud our voice about this. And then sustain investment, increase and align funding. It costs money to do this, like Mrs. C said. It costs money to do this. We have to raise the support to sustain this work that we're doing. Next slide, please. This is how we can scale. And everyone has a role. Everyone in this room. And when you leave this room, what role are you playing in the things that you're going to learn after these 2 days? What role do you have? Because when we work together, we create stronger families and safer futures for every child. That's not just every child, right? That's our society. That's every space that we want to get into. How do we make our space safe together? Through the government, we've been knocking on that. Through NGOs who have built systems and models around family care reforms. Through faith communities. Our faith communities is a very big instrumental space that we can use to drive this. How do we get them involved? And then communities. Our communities to keep talking about this. This is very important. Don't leave your child in distress. And then development partners. We need the funding to provide funding and technical support and global learning. We need the development to keep doing this, to keep growing this. This movement is not just a starting point. It has a destination, the one we know our God will be very proud of. Last slide, please. Thank you. Thank you for listening, because we believe that every child deserves the opportunity to belong and grow in a healthy family. The future of West Africa is not just in investing in homes, it's investing in strengthening families. And I believe, you will just raise your hand if you believe that too. I have a cloud of witnesses that believe that as well. Thank you.
One more time, a round of applause for Mr. Azubi K for an amazing session. Well said, sir. 2 things that I was speaking with him, and I asked that 2 things that he would want each and every one of us here to live with. And he said, we want each and every one of us to support the idea of families and also invest in family strengthening. And on one of the slides I saw this, the lower part, probably some of us didn't get to see it, but he read it out. He said, different roles, one goal, strong families, safer children, better futures. That is really needed. That is needed. We're going to go into the next business of the day, and the second talk is titled Shaping the Future of Childcare in Africa, a trauma-informed approach. And the person who will be taking the second talk is Diane Herzberger. She is the President, Trauma Free World Training and Curriculum Division. Would you please put your hands together as she comes up stage for our talk?
I have some goodies being passed out for everybody, so we're just going to give a minute or 2 for those to be passed out. But don't don't open them. Don't grab for them until I cue you. How about while they're passing them out, why doesn't everybody stand up, take a deep breath? You've been sitting a long time. It's warm in here. Get some fresh oxygen in your system. Do a little stretch. Grab a drink of water. I don't want anyone falling asleep on me, so excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Does everybody have their goodies on the center of their table yet? Everybody should get one. But remember, don't touch them. Don't take them out yet. Leave them at the center of the table. Okay, is everybody feeling a little refreshed? All right, go ahead and grab a seat. Hopefully everybody has my props at the table. Yes? Thank you, ladies, for passing those out. Thank you to the volunteers. Imagine with me, a young boy, 9 years old, sleeping outside on a concrete slab on a cool African night. He hasn't eaten in 3 days. He doesn't know where his next meal will come from. His father has abandoned him. His mother is alive but absent. His grandmother is the one stable adult in his life, but when she leaves to visit family, he is left to fend for himself. Some nights, neighbors feed him. Some nights, they don't. Some nights, he has a place to sleep. Some nights, he doesn't. Eventually, he is accepted into a local program where he begins to experience something new: consistent adults and regular meals. Later, he joins a family-based program where, for 7 years, he experiences safety, stability, affection, belonging, and love. Then something happens. As a young adult, he begins making poor decisions. He enters into unhealthy relationships. He makes choices that disappoint the very people who invested in him. And suddenly, everyone begins asking the question, what is wrong with him? After 7 years of stability, shouldn't he know better? Shouldn't he be healed by now? 5 years later, he is still struggling, still making poor decisions, still taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. But here's what I have come to understand. What looks like rebellion is often pain. What looks like irresponsibility is often unresolved trauma. What looks like poor choices is often a young man trying to heal wounds he does not fully understand. He's searching for attachment, for belonging. And isn't that what all of us do when parts of our story remain unhealed? I begin with his story because it raises an important question. Can we put a timeline on healing? Can we expect years of trauma to disappear simply because someone experiences a few years of safe, consistent family? I don't think that we can. My name is Diane Herzberger, and I serve as the president of the Training and Curriculum Division of Trauma Free World. It is an honor to be here with all of you, with leaders from across all of Africa who are committed to changing the trajectory of vulnerable families and vulnerable children. Across this continent, incredible work is happening. Children are being protected, families are being strengthened, programs are being built, policies are being improved, communities are responding, and all of this matters deeply. But today I want to suggest something important. A child can be housed and still not feel safe. An adolescent can achieve a university degree and still be deeply wounded. A child can be rescued and still feel emotionally abandoned. Meeting physical needs is essential, but if we fail to address the invisible wounds children carry, we risk building systems that care for children without helping them truly heal. This unhealed trauma is silently shaping future generations. The future of care for children in Africa must be trauma-informed. But why must it be trauma-informed? What does trauma-informed even mean? At the heart of so many challenges facing children is interpersonal trauma. There are many reasons why children end up living in a children's home or on the streets, why they are trafficked. The list goes on and on and on. And at the core of almost all of these is interpersonal trauma. Interpersonal trauma happens in relationships. It occurs when the very people who are supposed to provide safety become the source of fear, neglect, rejection, abandonment, and harm. For a child, interpersonal trauma may include abuse, neglect, domestic violence, family separation, institutionalization, displacement, exploitation, the loss of a primary caregiver. These experiences are especially damaging because they do not just affect a child's sense of safety in the world, they affect a child's ability to trust other people. And because healing also happens through relationships, the solution to interpersonal trauma is not simply providing services. It is helping children experience safe, consistent, nurturing relationships that rebuild trust and restore connection. That brings me back to my original question: what is trauma-informed care? Trauma-informed care is not a program. It is not a curriculum, a training, or a certificate. Trauma-informed care is a way of seeing someone differently. It begins with the understanding that many of the children and adolescents and families that we serve have experienced adversity, loss, neglect, abuse, separation, violence, and other overwhelming experiences. It's choosing to ask, what happened to this child, before asking what's wrong with this child. It is recognizing that behavior has meaning. It is understanding that behind every behavior is a story, and often behind that story is a child carrying pain we cannot see. Trauma-informed care recognizes that behavior often reflects a child's attempt to survive experiences that are far beyond their control. It takes time to become trauma-informed, and we should never stop learning about how trauma impacts the human spirit. I've been parenting my 2 adopted sons for the past 12 years. Being trauma-informed is literally my job. And yet, there are moments when it is so very, very hard to go against my instinctual parenting style, reframe the situation so that I can respond in a safe and trauma-informed way. It requires so much of my patience, insight, self-awareness, so much Holy Spirit strength. So, how do we become trauma-informed? It starts with a perspective shift, a desire and commitment to learning a different way of thinking, a reframing of the way we were parented or how leadership was modeled to us. Imagine I handed each of you a pair of tinted glasses. The moment you put them on, everything in this room looks different. The people in this room haven't changed, only the lens through which you see them has changed. Trauma-informed care is like putting on a new pair of glasses. Without that lens, we see defiance, and with it, we begin to see fear in that child. Without that lens, we see a problem to fix, and with it, we see a story to understand. The child has not changed. What changes is how we see them. And when we change how we see them, we change how we respond. And when we change our response, we have the opportunity to change a life. As we talk about helping children heal, we must also talk about ourselves. One of the greatest misconceptions in child welfare is that we can heal children without first equipping and supporting the adults who care for them. In reality, healing often begins with the adults. Many of us entered into this work because we care deeply about children. But many of us are also carrying our own stories of loss, disappointment, rejection, trauma, or pain. If we are not aware of our own wounds, they can quietly influence the way we lead, parent, teach, and care for others. The truth is that we cannot consistently give away what we do not possess ourselves. If we want children to experience safety, we must understand what it means to feel safe. If we want children to learn emotional regulation, guess what? We must be growing in our own emotional regulation as well. If we want children to trust relationships, we must be committed to building healthy relationships in our own lives. This does not mean we need to be perfect. None of us are. But it does mean that we must be willing to do our own healing work. Children do not need perfect caregivers. They need healing caregivers. They need adults who are self-aware, emotionally healthy, humble enough to seek support, and courageous enough to continue growing. And when those who care for children commit to their own healing journey, they become some of the most powerful healing agents in that child's life. Imagine in Africa where every caregiver understands trauma, where schools become places of healing as well as learning, where social services prioritize emotional safety alongside physical protection, where alternative care systems are designed not only to shelter children, but to help them recover, heal, and thrive. That future is possible, but it requires all of us. We each have a role to play. The question before us is not whether trauma exists. This question is whether we build systems that acknowledge it and respond to it. The future of childcare in Africa must be trauma-informed because children deserve more than survival. They deserve healing, connection, they deserve hope, and they deserve adults who understand that behind every behavior is a story, and behind every story is a child created in the image of God. As we think about the future of childcare in Africa, I want to return to the young boy I told you about at the beginning of my talk. I met him 12 years ago. The boy who slept on a concrete slab, the boy who often went days without food, the boy who was abandoned by his father and left searching for stability, belonging, and love. Today, he's no longer a child, he is an adult, and his story is still being written. He still makes mistakes, he still struggles, he still has moments where old wounds show up in new ways, but there is something else that is true. He's employed, he's pursuing his education, he knows Jesus, and perhaps most importantly, he is still surrounded by people who refuse to give up on him. People who understand that healing is not linear. People who understand that meaning has behavior. People who understand that 7 years of safety cannot instantly erase years of abandonment. Who continue to show up, to listen, encourage, guide, and love him. That, to me, is trauma-informed care. It is refusing to define someone by their worst decision. It is refusing to give up when healing takes longer than expected. It is believing that God's vision for a person's life is greater than the trauma they have experienced. At the center of your table, you will find a pair of tinted glasses. Go ahead and grab them. They might look like this. They might be square. Go ahead and grab them, and I want you to put them on. This is your reminder that a trauma-informed approach is a different way of seeing things. Let us commit ourselves to building systems that do more than protect children. Let us build systems that help them heal. Because when children heal, families heal. When families heal, communities heal. And when communities heal, nations are transformed. Thank you. You all look really good.
Please give her a big, big round of applause. Give her a big round of applause. You're welcome. All right, thank you. We're learning new things, and I'm sure after now we're going to be implementing new things. It's been an exciting talk, and we're excited to be here. Quickly, as we set up for the panel session, we'll have a quick fruit break, a very quick fruit break. Can I have the team tell us, stand, and we're going to go by tables. So we're going to start from this first row, and we keep going until everyone. So just pick your fruit and come back to your table. Please, can I have the team? 10 minutes. Can I have the team help us go through? Please go with her. Just go with her so we can get a quick fruit. Can I have also the team help me set up for the panel session? Can I have the team help me set up for the panel session? Please, let's have people positioned to guide them on how to get the fruit break. Let's have people positioned to help us. 2026. Hi, everyone. I can't hear you. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. If I took it off, that's a read. You took it off that I wanted. All right, please, the kitchen, can we have less noise over there? And let's get to the panel. We're going to be having a panel. We're here in Ghana, and it's only good that we hear about some of the challenges, so that when we go into the breakout sessions, we can also talk more about that later. But I want everyone to hear, please pay attention. So when I say a West Africa, you say where every child belongs. So we're going to try it. 1, 2, 3, go. A West Africa. Okay, I still can't hear you. Let's go one more time. A West Africa. One more time. A West Africa. I'm only hearing this table and that one. So I want to hear here, this side. So let's go again. A West Africa. One last time. A West Africa. So because we are talking about Ghana, I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, you fine, pa. Say it how I said it. Let's go. Tell everybody beside you that you fine, pa. I can't hear you. Why are you telling me? Tell the person next to you, you fine, pa. All right, let's go. Thank you. That just means you look beautiful. That's what that means. You look beautiful. And you truly look beautiful. So for this panel session is Ghana's care reform journey, the bottlenecks and the breakthroughs. And we know that in every care reform journey, we encounter some bottlenecks and we always have breakthroughs. And they will be sharing the experience. To lead this panel session is someone who is passionate about family-based care. She's an advocate for children. And she's been doing this work for a while. She's the CEO of Partnership for Family-Based Care, also a very strong member of FABCA and part of the part of the planning committee. Please, with a round of applause, help me welcome our moderator, Miracle Damanka. Please, let's give her a round of applause as she comes up stage. Please, let's welcome Miracle Damanka as she comes up stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. Hello, hello, hello. Please, you're warmly welcome to this session. Join me welcome the panelists. I'll tell you a bit about them, and then we can go right into the conversation. So the first person on this panel is Mrs. Helena Asamoah Obeng. She is the first person who was the coordinator for the Reform Initiative. Let me give you a little history. So we have an organization in the country which was an orphanage, O Africa, then called Orphanate Africa. That transitioned, which means they were able to get all their children into other family care settings or alternative care. And so after that, they started a campaign for the whole country to do this care reform. And they partnered with UNICEF to start an office. And the first coordinator of that office is Mrs. Helena Obeng Asamoah. Join me, welcome her. Auntie Helena, you're very welcome. Oh, please put it together for her. much. We'll also be listening to a lady I really, really respect. She was the social worker, the head of social work for that organization that transitioned. She is called Mrs. Jacinta Atakra. She's been 15 years in child protection, and she's the head of social work and projects at O Africa. Please help me welcome her. Jacinta, you're welcome. Please let's keep clapping for her. You're very welcome to the conversation. And finally, for this conversation, we want to invite a care leaver. She was through the situation, and she would also be sharing with us. Mrs. Akpene Mojifa. Please help me welcome her. Oh, keep clapping, please. Thank you. You're all very warmly welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
Great. So, to kick us off, just give me one word to describe what you see of care reform in Ghana. One word. How do you describe care reform in Ghana? Auntie Elena.
Let me say challenging.
Challenging. Okay. We'll come back to hear why you chose challenging. Please, Jacinta.
We've come a long way.
One word.
Long way.
Long way. All right, Akpene.
For me, I would say it's a work in progress. From the time it started in 2016 up to now. Even though it has been very challenging and we are seeing the results to be a little bit steady, I would say it's a work in progress.
This one word is very long. One word. I think progress. All right, great. So, Auntie Helena, we go way back. I'd want to ask you, as you listened to the presentation by Honorable Oye, I want you to compare that to what's happening in practice and what you went through to implement those policies, practices, and changes along the road of care reform. What would you say were the greatest challenges?
Okay, let me take to before Honorable Minister came to the ministry, when the reform started. I think it was in 2005 when DSW came together, social welfare officers came together, and decided to conduct a census because we didn't even know the numbers of orphanages we had in the country. So they had to come together to go around and find out how many orphanages are we talking about. And then they realized that we had 138 at the time, as against 10 a few years earlier. And then there were about 4,000 children in these homes. So the question was, what is happening? I mean, what was the issue? Because in a very short time, between 1995 and then 2005, we have had an increase in the number of homes and then children. And then almost all of them had not gone through the procedure, which the Children's Act spelled out. And so it was, I mean, when Ghana presented the report to the UNCRC, it was alarming, and they were asked to check why this issue was happening. What was happening? Is there something in Ghana that is causing this? So that is how the care reform started. And it was actually launched in 2007. And then the office was created. So in 2008, the office started functioning officially in 2008. Before then, I was in charge of Osu Children's Home, as you know. I was also, I was in charge of an orphanage. And then, because of what I saw there, we decided, the directory decided that I should come to be the head of Care Reform Initiative. We had an office, we had a computer, one computer. We had the laws, the Children's Act, and then the LI 1705 to work with. That was all. We didn't have standards. We didn't even know what we were looking out for. And that was a great challenge to us because when we started going around, we noticed that a lot of things were going on with children in homes. I mean, the places they call orphanages. Not all of them. Some of them were doing very well. But I went into a place where I saw 90 children in an uncompleted building with 3 caregivers. You go to a place where they were operating like a juvenile delinquency institution. You go to a place where you find people with children, one woman with children with an uncompleted building with no door. And according to her, she was always the one guarding them at night when they slept. And I said, but you yourself, you even look too weak to do this kind of work. So it has been a tough journey. That's why I said it was challenging. And then also when it was started, it was some of them, those who were not operating according to standard, thought that we were attacking their livelihood. And so there were so many attacks that I don't want to talk about now.
Thank you very, very much. I understand when you say it was challenging. Jacinta, if you can throw more light. You were an orphanage. Now the name is Residential Homes for Children. That's what they were. And they were having, how many children were you having at the time? And what was the process like for you? For us to, for the organization to DI.
Thank you, Miracle. Orphanage Africa was in existence around 2003. And it was run for just 3 years. After 3 years, our founder, Lisa Lover-Smith, came to the realization that every child deserved a family, and that was necessary for her to do the institutionalization so that those children with her will have the opportunity to be with their families. And around that time, the institution had, I think, less than 50 with so many caregivers. We were doing amazing work, though, but when Lisa realized that still it wasn't the best because every child deserves a loving and a protective family, she came to that conclusion that her orphanage needed to go. And the process was a bit challenging from the beginning, but here we are. It's been 20 years now since Orphanage Africa was dissolved. Orphanage Africa was transitioned from institutional care to family-based care. And when we look back, we don't regret even one bit. Some of the challenges that Lisa and us faced during the transition moment was a lot. One, I will talk about resistance from the staff. I was a staff, and I must say, I have to be honest, that time, even though I had the interests of children at heart, but I was also concerned about my job. That is where I find my livelihood, to feed my children. So when Lisa came up with the idea that, Jacinta, we need to transition our orphanage to family-based care, I tried to talk her out. I'm like, Lisa, we are doing so well. We are protecting the children. Can't you see? They are going to school. They are being fed well. why can't we live like this? She said, no, Jacinta. So what she did was she started educating us of the benefit of children living with families. I wasn't alone. She had a lot of employees. So she took us to seminars, training upon trainings, just to change our mindsets. Another challenge she faced from the staff was the staff also thinking that children are being cared for best by the institution, like institutional care. Children are doing well, especially with vulnerable children. Our staff felt, would families be able to care for a child with HIV, for instance, a child with special needs? These were the questions we were asking. Can we do this? Because we are doing so well now, so why don't we leave it at that? Then another challenge was coming from the children themselves, especially grown-up children who had been with us for 3 years. I must acknowledge that some of the children were in other orphanages then, and they were transferred to Orphanage Africa. So they had lived the majority of their childhood lives in other orphanages. So when they came, it wasn't just like 3 years. Some had lived in institutional care for 7 years, 8 years, even 10 years. So they were so much afraid of going back to their families. They were not sure if their families will accept them or give them the kind of care that our orphanage was giving them. So there were resistance. Then another resistance came from other individuals who had committed their lives in supporting institutional care. So they also tried to talk Lisa out of that idea that, Lisa, stay where you are. Another challenge came from the families themselves. So around that time, we had started tracing for children's families. And when you contact this family, they are like, oh, you've taken very good care of my child. Please continue for me. I beg you. I don't think I can be able to do this. We realized that families were afraid because they were concerned about how to fend for their children when they come to them. They were not sure if they can be good parents. Because of poverty prevalence in Ghana, they thought they wouldn't have the resources to do that. But we encouraged them that once the children come to them, we are at their back, going to support them on each of their way. We were not going to leave them. So there are a lot of things Africa did to surmount all these challenges. Okay. So with staff, I've already mentioned that Lisa started making us attend workshops, trainings. She talked to us personally. I can't remember, she called me in her office and she talked to me about 1 hour, trying to convince me that family-based care was the best. Then she also assured us of redeployment opportunities. So then I had a degree and she asked me to take on extra courses. My colleagues who didn't have degrees, she asked them to pursue degree courses. The foster parents, the foster mothers, or I should call the caregivers, yes. She promised them that they were going to be okay. She will have that she will give them the opportunity to take on new roles. So once staff came to the realization that Lisa wasn't going to just leave us like that, then we started supporting her. Because me personally, I was concerned about my job, even though the best interest of children was at my heart, but I was also concerned about my job.
Thank you.
So then we threw our support behind her. Then with the children, there was participation. We called them, we spoke to them, decision makings, we did not leave them out. We tried to speak to them on the importance of family and also assuring them that they were going to fare well once they go back to family. Then with the families, we started providing economic support. Even up until now, we are doing that. So we trained them in businesses. We gave them startup capitals to start businesses. We gave parenting skills. We had weekly parenting skills training at our offices. And I think when they realized that the support will be coming, they also bought into the idea of what Lisa has started. It was amazing. It hasn't been easy though, but we've come very far, and if we look back, we pat our shoulders. We think we've done the best.
Please, let me ask one quick question before we move on. How long in total did it take you to finish the transition for all the children who were in the home?
It took us a couple of years. So then we had less than 50 children. But transitioning them, I would divide the total children into 3 parts. Majority of the children had families. I would say like 85% of children residing in our then orphanage had families. So reuniting them wasn't so much of a problem, especially children who didn't have special needs. There were also children whose parents or families, extended families, could not be traced. So with the support of government, Department of Social Welfare, they helped us train foster parents. So some of our caregivers who were taking care of the children in the orphanage were then trained to be foster parents. And they were taken into various communities where the children came from, or in Accra, so that any child whose parent is not ready to receive that child yet, or a child whose parents cannot be traced yet, was given to the foster parents. So that the Department of Social Welfare, which is the government body, supported us in a very grand way. Then there was that category of children with special needs, HIV, cerebral palsy, autism. You know, it's a bit difficult for families to receive them upon all the trainings, and they think they cannot do it. So Department of Social Welfare also supported us to provide specialized foster care services for them until their families were ready. So in general, I would say it took us not less than 4 years for us to transition like 95% of them.
Great. And what did you do with the last few?
So the last few, that's about 5%, grew in foster care until they turned 18 and transitioned into independent living.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, a few minutes with you, Akpene. You have been a caregiver and you've come through foster care. How has it been? And what would you want owners of foster care, owners of residential homes, and people who are into child care and child protection to know?
Thank you, Miracle. So with residential operators, for now, having been through the system, I would say I will appreciate their work that they have done over the years. All residential homes, children's home, trying to solve a societal problem. But in an attempt to solve a problem, you know, as human as we are, unknowingly we end up creating another, and which is why we are here today. So I have experienced the institutional care system, and before that, I have experienced family care system before. And I will never advise anybody to drop his or her child in an institutional care or send your auntie or your uncle's child there because that person is not alive or because of poverty.
I won't encourage anyone to. In as outwardly, you can see it as, oh, they are providing everything. In terms of education, the children are getting it. Their food, they are getting place to sleep, they are getting. These are the basic needs that human being needs. But beyond that, human beings survive beyond just food, clothes, and shelter. Right, so I'll say that we should allow the children to go back to families. Single families are there to support them. Families are the backbones of humanity. And in families, we survive, we thrive, we become good people. And for us caregivers that we are out now, that we do not have any family to go to, you see us once a while calling on each other. Those of us that we grew up together, the exiting group, because you exit in groups. So when you exit in groups, you end up forming relations with those groups, and then once a while you reach out and say, oh, I need this, or I need this. Can somebody help me in this way? But then if you end up with it, if you have a family, you will never break away from them, no matter how old you are. If you have a mother or a father, when you are old and you are married and you have children, when you come to your mother is still your mother. And he or she has the right to correct you in whichever way, which we don't have, because we went through a system which just directed us out, and you are out and that is it. So, in as much as outside, people outside who are ignorant of it would think that the orphanage is taking care of the children or is caring for the children. Inwardly, it's destroying things, because you come out and you feel so empty. You are not connected to anyone. You've lost your culture. You've lost your identity. I can speak languages within the Ghana country, but I am master of none. I can speak one of them because of how the kind of people we came into contact with, or the children that we grew up with, because they came from different tribes, and they all came with different languages. So we ended up learning other languages from them. But we don't really get to master the language and have authority over the command over the language. You see, you end up losing it. You just speak just to survive. But if you are to talk as a native person, you are lost. And that is the challenges we are facing. We don't have any sense of belonging. The family members are there, but you can't go because you are not closer to them. You don't have attachment, you don't have the bond. You go there and they have forgotten about whose child, whose son, whose daughter you were or you are. So in as much as they are trying to solve a problem, it's creating another problem. So we should rather allow the children to grow up in families. When they are in the families and they are hungry, they will not die. So to institutions or international bodies or people who want to support children, I will advise or encourage that you rather direct the support to the community so that all the other children can also benefit, so that you don't make the institutional care attractive for parents to come and dump their children behind, in front of their door and run out, because they see that place to be attractive. The building is attracting them. The bus that takes the children to school and back is attracting them. And that is why you keep seeing people dumping or abandoning children. So if we redirect our support to the communities, to support the less families that we think they are vulnerable within their community, it will solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. So I'll ask Auntie Helena, one quick question, and then I'll open the floor for about 2 or 3 questions. Then we wrap up. So please, Auntie Helena, as for care reform in Ghana, I'm sure when you heard Honorable Oye, you could see that Ghana has put in a lot of structures to make sure that care reform is moving. I have at least, I remember packing them in because I told myself I was on all those boards and I need to have the documents we created. The latest is the care reform roadmap in Ghana for 2024 to 2028. But this is the 4th version. We've had from 2010 to 2012, we've had an extension to 2015, And then we had another roadmap for the closure of residential homes 2017 before this. And even this, we are in 2026. There isn't a lot of noise we are hearing about implementing this. So my question to you, what do you think gets in the way after these things have been passed, after the document has been signed on, like this one is? What gets in the way so that we are not able to implement them?
I think that the problem has to do with when people are moved from, when officers are moved from what they are doing to another place. Somebody is in charge.
Like the shuffling?
Reshuffling.
Okay.
So when the minister was talking, a lot of the things that she talked about are no longer, you don't see the passion. When you hear her speak, she had a lot of passion for this kind of work. So that is what I can see that sometimes is a problem. If you come in to start, continue the work I'm doing, if you don't have the same passion like I have, then you will not be able to do it the way it should go. But I think that apart from that, a lot has happened since everything started. At least we have the documents there that we are following, even though it's not the way we expected it to be. But a lot has happened. Looking at how it started from the beginning, it was really frustrating, very frustrating working with, in an environment where resources, it was OA and UNICEF that kept supporting us throughout, even to get to where we have gotten to. At least before I left to the Department of Children. So, that is it.
Your thoughts. Thank you very, very much. Please, any question for them? Any question for any of them before we wrap up? The mic is coming to you.
Right, thank you. Sorry, I've forgotten your name, so Emma. My question is for you, especially in the area of the care leavers, because I've seen a lot of things done in care leavers, but I think sometimes it's hard for us to know what your needs are, right? Because I've seen people bringing care leavers together, and all they talk about is the mental health, which I support mental health. But is that all you guys need? What other supports do you need? Do you need life skills? Do you need connections in life? Like you said, do you need mentors? Because I feel like sometimes we can just focus on that mental health, and we don't really have a sense of like, what else do you guys need from us, policy makers?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I would say mostly you hear us say mental health because of the trauma that you face, especially when you exit support and you are exposed to the world all of a sudden that you know nothing about. So we feel like the mental health, it's like the major, because if you have your mental capacity intact, right. But apart from that, care leavers need a lot of things. Things like they struggled with jobs, especially jobs, because sometimes they come out since they say that 18 years you have to be out of school. You can test between them. Most of the Africans university, by the time you'll be out, you are either more than 18 years. So if 18 years you should be out, it means that you will not be out of school before you'll be getting out. Some institutions will try to equip you with the skills and knowledge that you need in order to live independent life. But then you face the world with no less skill. Your educational level is super low. You have mental health issues already. Self-esteem is all gone, and all these kind of challenges. So it affects the care leavers to get decent job in order to attract decent salary to be able to live a better life. You get it? So jobs, acquiring a job is a challenge. Another one is housing, accommodation. When you are exiting support, For other institutions, they might support you with 1 year rent or whatever. But once that 1 year rent ends, if you don't have any means of earning income to pay your rent, it means that you can't get accommodation. So you have to call on your other care leavers friends to either spend a night or two or stay with them or share a room with them. And once you've exhausted your options, it means that you are back on the street again. A whole lot. Health issues as well. Most of us get out of institutional care with health issues because you already entered into the institutional care with health issues. And those health issues, if it is chronic, it means that it's with you where you are living with it. So if you're an HIV person, how then do you continue getting your monthly medications and mental consultation and all hospital consultation and all those kind of things? So care leavers, once you are out of care, it doesn't end there. You are faced with even challenges beyond your own strength because there is no family to go to. If you were left within the family and family members recognizes you and they know your weakness and your strength, they might end up in a way. Sometimes some of them will turn blind-eyed on you and they will not support you. But then there will be one person in there that will have that soft heart that can be able to come to your aid. So when care leavers are out, your challenges become more than even when what you came in with.
Thank you. I see 2 hands. Okay, so I'll take those 2 and then we'll close.
I'm hiding here and I have the mic.
Okay, please go ahead, Reverend.
All right, so my concern is about the families. There are homes dysfunctional, husband and wife are at war, children are scared every day. You want to send somebody who has taken refuge, so to speak, back to.
All right, please, one more time, round of applause for them. Okay, we will be going into the next talk. So I'd like to call on my state managers to. All right. The next talk we will be having is titled Global Charter and the Importance of Government Buy-in. Global Charter and the Importance of Government Buy-in. The person to take this talk is Doreen Alaro, is the Senior Associate Mistral International.
Good afternoon, Children's Care Reform, and discuss how it provides practical pathway for translating principles into action. I'll also highlight